Hello there, and welcome to the first part of my comprehensive chess course. It was my long wish to create a course which will serve to introduce anyone who wants to start playing good solid chess into the world of chess. So the idea of this course is to give you strong chess fundamentals, to introduce you and to teach you all the necessary elements of chess which are needed to play, really good, solid fundamental chess and enjoy the game more. So this course is aimed for beginners, but also for improvers who want to bring their chess on a higher level by just fortifying their fundamentals, chess elements, and so forth. The title of the course is Soviet School of Chess, and I chose this title because this course will be based on the book, which is, in my opinion, probably the best chess book ever written. It's a classical book in a modern translation. It says it's called Soviet Chess Primer, and the modern translation is, of course, in English using algebraic notations and so on. But the original was published in Soviet Union in 1930s. It has the foreword written by Emanuel Lasker, and this book raised the generations and generations of Soviet players, Karpov and Kasparov being just one of them. I have read this book very diligently using my board and pieces. I went through all the examples, all the chapters, and I realized how well written the book is and how the examples and the explanations are really, really remarkable. My idea is to create a course to make this, approach. I call this Soviet school because it's basically this kind of approach to chess, and to make it available to the wider audience. Before we begin with the course, I just want to give you short advice how I think you could benefit the most from this course. So my advice is to actually purchase a copy of this book. It's called Soviet Chess Primer. And once you order the book, then you can watch chapter after chapter in these videos. So these videos will cover the theoretical part of each chapter in this book. I will try to not just read what is written in the book, but also offer some wider explanations. So you can watch the video, watch this theoretical part, and then if you really want to make most of this course, you should go in the book, and by the end of each chapter, there are many practical problems to solve, examples which you should solve on your own, and in this way you will apply the knowledge you have just acquired by watching the video. So this would be, I think, the most beneficial way to go through this course. Of course, if you don't want to do this, I think just by watching these videos and let your brain absorb the material will also be greatly beneficial for your chess and for your chess improvement. Okay, so that being said, let's go to the chapter 1. So let us start this course with just some quick miniature games. It is how the first chapter ends. I will not be explaining the rules of chess and the basic games of the chess game. I assume my audience already knows this. So let's just, as a warm-up, as a beginning, let's go through some very instructive miniatures in which you will be able to see some common mating patterns, and not just baiting, but common opening patterns. So let's begin. It will be, it's just a warm-up. It will be a fun thing to do, I believe. In the first game, we will just see a very short checkmate, which actually happened in chess history. So white opened with f4, black responded with e5, g3 was played, black took the pawn on f4, g takes f4 was played, and now very instructive, very thematic checkmate on queen to h4. The next game also a very short mate, very thematic, famous scholar mate. So e4, e5, bishop c4, immediately eyeing this weak f7 square, bishop c5, and now queen to h5. You probably know this, threatening the mate on f7, and the black here played d6 and just got checkmated. So very, very common mating pattern using the f7 square. And this can occur, okay, this is very simple, everybody knows this, it happened in 4 moves, but this kind of pattern can occur in a more complicated positions and middle games. Okay, the next game, e4, e5 again, bishop c4, bishop c5, and now queen to f3, again, now threatening the scholar mate, but this time black wanted to defend, and he defended by playing knight to h6, now defending the pawn. The correct move here is of course knight to f3, just blocking the queen from the attack. But anyway, here the more instructive move was played, knight to h6, and now white has a winning move, it's d4. So this d4 simultaneously attacks the bishop and attacks the knight. If the knight is removed, then there is no defender of this square and it will be a checkmate. So this game continued. I mean, white is now winning the piece. So this game continued. Bishop took the pawn. It will be the same if bishop retreated, and now just bishop takes h6, and the mate is threatened, so he cannot take bishop, because then he'll get checkmated, and white just won the piece by creating checkmate threats. Game number 4. Again, e4, and now oven defense is played, b6, bishop to c4, bishop to b7. By the way, this defense is called by Master Oven, who was a frequent opponent of Charles Paul Morphy when he was in Europe. So here, queen to f3 is played. Now you can see immediately that the checkmate threat is here. So knight f6 to stop the checkmate. Knight h3 is played, developing the knight. Since this square is taken, he has to develop this way. And now also there is a trap which was prepared by white, and the trap is that it looks like that white has just blundered a pawn. So black here fall for a trap and played bishop take e4. The better move would be just to continue development with e6. So bishop takes e4, and now knight to g5. Looking that he also blundered the queen. So now black took the queen, and again dramatic checkmate with the bishop on f7. By the way, this was not so yeah, white was setting the traps and black was falling for it, but here instead of a knight to g5, which is not a correct move, because if black sees the trap, it can be easily avoided. The best move, which is forcing, would be just to take the f7 pawn with the bishop with check. Black has to recapture, and now knight g5, check, and winning the bishop. So this variation would forcefully win a pawn for white. Okay, let's go to the next game, game number 5. So e4 is played, e5, knight f3, d6, so everything looks pretty normal. Bishop to c4, bishop g4 now, pinning the knight, so everything looks normal. White played c3, probably wanting to strike in the center, and now knight to c6 was played, and it is not a good move, since you can see that this bishop is undefended. So much better move would be a knight to f6, defending the bishop, and then there will be no tactical shots. But okay, knight to c6 was played, and now queen to b3, simultaneously attacking this pawn on b7 and also the pawn on f7. And black thought that it's great that now the queen has moved, so he can just take the knight and double the pawns. So he took the knight, but now there is this threat, bishop takes f7, and after king moves, this is checkmate. So again, very common mating pattern. Let's go to the next game, game number 6. e4, e5, bishop c4, and now black played knight to f6, attacking the pawn. This is similar to Petrov defense. Knight to f3, and now black took the pawn. White developed another knight. Black took the knight, so white just sacrifices the pawn just temporarily. D takes c3, and now d6. And now it looks like that white has just lost the pawn, but he gains some initiative from it, you will see. So after castles, bishop to g4 was played, again logical move, pinning the knight. But now there are some very serious threats, and this bishop is undefended. You can see that f7 square is weak, so white finds very nice tactical combination. So knight takes e5, threatening the bishop and also threatening this f7 square. And in this game, black just took the queen, and he was very soon mated. So just bishop takes f7. And after king e7, only legal move, there comes bishop to g5 with a checkmate. So what could what could black done to avoid this? So after knight takes e5, if black wants to take the pawn, then there is this very thematic check. So bishop takes f7, and now king cannot take f7 because the queen is hanging. So king has to play on e7, and now bishop g5 check, just wins the queen, because after king takes bishop here, the queen is just falling. So this is also very typical tactics when you can take the f7 pawn and remove the defender of the king. So this is variation of these tactics. Okay, let's go to the next game. So here again e4 is played, but now we come to the Sicilian c5, knight f3, knight c6, normal moves, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, everything is normal, and now this e5 strike, which is not a good move. Knight goes to f5, and now what seems to be natural developing move for black, knight plays e7, but now you can see that king has no is smothered, has no squares around him, so knight d6 is just a checkmate. Again, a relatively common pattern. It comes from several different openings from Caro-Kann and similar. Okay, let's go to the next game. So in the next game, again e4, e5 is played, and now we go to the king's gambit with f4, e takes f4, knight f3, d5, so far so good, knight to c3, d takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop g4 pinning the knight, queen e2, and now you can see there is already some threats of discovered checks, which black didn't see, so black just took the knight, and then knight f6 is a double check and checkmate, because you can see double check when king is in the double check. The only escape is to move the king. You cannot, just capture the piece because there are two pieces attacking, so there is no escape squares for king here, and this is a checkmate. Okay, let's go to the next game. In this game, now d4 is played, a little bit different, and we go to this so-called Dutch defense, and now bishop to g5, h6, kicking the bishop, bishop to h4, g5, so it looks like that white will lose the bishop. Bishop to g3, f4, and now, yeah, the bishop is trapped, but there is a hidden resource here in this position, so after e3, there is a threat of queen to h5 with a checkmate. So in order to stop this checkmate, white has to play h5. Now h5 square is protected by the king, but now he can just go and play bishop to d3, now threatening this checkmate. And the only way to defend this checkmate is to play king to h6, but now white can just sacrifice the queen, so queen takes h5 with check, he has to take, and now bishop delivers checkmate. So this is also very typical when black goes on and exposes his king side, then checkmate along this diagonal is very thematic. Let's go to the next game. In this game, again, we have open defense, so e4, b6, d4, just taking the center, developing the bishop on b7, bishop to d3, normal moves, and now f5. So black wants to take this very aggressively, and you will see now the same motif of exploiting this diagonal. So e takes f5, and now it looks like that white has just blundered rook. So after bishop takes g2, the rook will fall. So he fell for it. He took the pawn on g2, and now queen to h5 check. This diagonal. And the only way to stop it is to play g6. But now after f takes g6, there is another threat. I mean, this would be a checkmate. So knight to f6, attacking the queen. So if he plays, for example, a pawn to g7, he can just take the queen. G takes h7 is played with a check. The only move is knight takes queen, and now, like in the previous game, this bishop on g6 just delivers the checkmate. So it's all about this diagonal. And the last game for today is now played from the black perspective. So e4, e5 is played, knight f3, d5, so immediately strike in the center, e takes d5, queen takes d5, knight c3, attacking the queen, queen goes to a5, queen to e2, wanting to win this pawn. So knight to c6 is played here, d3, bishop to g4, pinning the knight, bishop to d2, threatening some discovered attacks on the queen, Knight to d4, now hitting the queen, and this knight, which is pinned. So queen took the pawn, and this was the crucial mistake, because after queen takes a5 check, the only way not to lose the queen, to regain the queen back, is knight takes e5. And now I encourage you to pause the video and try to find a very beautiful checkmate for black. Okay, I hope you managed to see this. So just simply knight takes c2 is checkmate. Very nice checkmate. So these two squares are covered by this bishop, and the knight delivers final strike. Okay, thank you very much for watching. This is first part in this course. There will be many other parts, so stay tuned. Cheers.